It's funny because it's a 1 o'clock game, but those Cowboys that we talked about at the Commanders. So, do we feel like we kind of touched on that? Has Jaden Daniels hit that rookie wall?
I think that he has hit a somewhat of a rookie wall, but I don't think that's because he is a bad. I don't think that's because he's a bad player. I think it is just because he's had some injuries. Um, the rib injury I think is definitely affecting his ability. At the beginning of the season, first 8 weeks, whatever it was, he wasn't the best rookie quarterback because he was lighting up the show or lighting up the field with his passes. He was the best rookie quarterback because of that dual threat. It was because, yes, he can throw the ball downfield and he is a good passer, but he's also a phenomenal runner of the ball. And I think that when he's kind of lost that ability to run it as well, he can still run it, just not as well because of the injury. I think he does kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But as he gets healthier, I think he will start to demonstrate that what we saw at the beginning of the year, that star player isms again.
This is, and it's funny to say this for a Cowboys team, but this is a get right game for the Commanders.
Yeah.
You've got a team. They're 10.5-point favorites. I can't remember the last time, even when the Cowboys weren't that good at the end of the season and the Commanders were playing better or going to the playoffs, the rare few times that they've done that over the last decade or so, I don't remember having a 10.5-point spread. So, this is in Washington. Obviously, the place is going to be rocking. They, they hate the Cowboys. It's not going to be like last year where, at the end of the game, the stadium was probably 70% Cowboys fans. I don't think you're going to see that.
No,
or your brother-in-law was there, and they blew out the Commanders. You're not going to see that. But this is a get right game. They have to keep pace with the Eagles. Right now, if the playoffs started today, they're the 7th seed and they're playing the Eagles, who are the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And that was a very tough game. We talked about last week, that last Thursday night. That was a very tough, through 3 quarters. I mean, that went back and forth. And I do think a healthy Jaden Daniels probably could make a difference in that game. And hopefully having this little mini bye, playing Thursday off till Sunday, is going to help them.
Yeah.
So
I think it will.
And you look at the Commanders' next 3 weeks, at home versus the Cowboys, home versus the Titans, and then at the Saints. So you win those next 3 games, one that puts you at 10-4, which is the best record they've had probably since 1991 through that many games. The last time they won a Super Bowl. Well, I think I mentioned this before. The Commanders/Redskins haven't won more than 10 games since 1991 when they went to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 26.
Yeah.
That's the last time they won 11 or more games. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're 10-4 going, and then you've got a tough game obviously against the Eagles, but at home. And then the Falcons are coming to DC, and then at the Commanders. So I think even if they lose, let's just say let's say they win the next 3 games, what they should. Cowboys, Titans, at the Saints. You're 10-4. You've got a tough Eagles game in DC. Let's say you lose that. Now you're 10-5. Falcons, depends on what Falcons team shows up, but they're in DC, and I feel like they should win that game. That's 11-5, and then at the Cowboys at the end of the year, and it depends on where they're at in the standings. They could lose that game just because they're not playing people. Depends on where they're locked into the playoffs. Are they still fighting for the division? That's one of those things. But they could be 11-6, 12-5, which that's
they can easily, if Philly, mucks it up and loses a game or two, I
Philly's
think they
got a
could
much
easily.
tougher schedule.
I mean, yeah, Philly's playing a number one schedule. I don't remember if they won the division last year. I know they were like
No,
9-1.
Cowboys won the division.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is the
So
thing. This will be the, what is it, 20th straight year that you haven't had a
that's
back-to-back division winner in the NFC East.
yeah. No, yeah. So I do think that Washington's schedule is way easier than Philly's schedule, and if Philly loses a game or two, Washington's back in it. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
at the Rams on Sunday night, at the Ravens, two tough games, if you ask
yeah,
me. They should beat the Panthers. And then the Philly has the Steelers at home, and then at the Commanders, and then they got the Cowboys and Giants.
yeah,
So their next next four games are much tougher than
then
the
Washington
Commanders.
same stretch.
You know, if let's say they go, even if they go, see, Rams, Ravens, Panthers, if they go 2-2 over their next four, and the Commanders go,
4-0.
well, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Commanders must have a bye in there.
I'll look right now. I have the schedule up.
Yeah.
Commanders do.
Yeah.
Commanders do have a bye week 14.
So let's say the Eagles go 2-2. That puts them at 10-4, and the Commanders go 3-0. They're 10-4 going into the head-to-head game.
Yeah.
So that game on the 22nd could be huge.
Yeah.
Now the Commanders have to do what they're going to do. They're supposed to do, and win the games that they're favored to win.
And then hope Philly loses a game or two.
And Philly loses 2 games, which is absolutely possible. Playing, going against, the Rams, which, see, Philly's favored by 2.5 in that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But I mean, this is my thing with that game, and it all depends on what Rams team comes out. If it's the Rams team that we played against Miami, I mean, game's going to be a blowout. They're going to beat the Rams. 30.
It really depends on Philly's secondary. If Mitchell and the white boy Cooper DeJean, if they shut down, or slow down, I don't think you're going to shut down Cooper Kupp and Puka, but if they can slow them down, that makes that can make a huge difference in that game.
Yeah,
and the Rams, they're playing better now that they're healthier, but the Eagles are playing much better despite their their idiot coach.
Yeah.
So to me, it's this is interesting. If you're a Commanders fan, losing that game to the Eagles was tough, but it's not the end of the world. You still have a chance to win that division. And like I said, if you're 11-6 or 12-5, you're right there. You're right there for a playoff run.
And in general, even if you don't win the division, you're still looking way happier as a Commanders fan. You are way happier than probably anybody else in that division, because even a Philly fan is not going to be, even if Philly wins the division, they might still not be as happy as a Commanders fan, because you still have Nick Sirianni, and if they win the division, you're less likely to fire Nick Sirianni just because he just won the division. So even if as a Commanders fan, even if you don't win the division, I'd still think that you're probably pretty happy about this year so far.
I mean, you're building. You have the quarterback. You're building. Yeah. I think you have a good culture.
Good coach.
The I don't know if you saw where the Senate, I can't remember what committee it is, but they just passed in a 17-2 vote to give the federal land around RFK back to DC. Now it still has to go through the Senate, still has to be passed, and they're trying to do that before the end of the year, before the Senate, before this, the
Inauguration.
everything changes
Yeah.
with Senate and the House and the presidency. But yeah, I mean and so you've got a lot of good things going for you. But yeah, I put the Eagles as my number 5 team in the power rankings, and I said Sirianni is the second winningest current active coach in the NFL, and I feel like he's still on the hot seat.
Yeah.
So, if they get knocked out in the first round, a la the Cowboys last year, I don't know if Sirianni comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think we'll have to see. I'll have to wait to see how the end of this year goes.